Selling things to other people is difficult. You have to know who you're selling to, what price they're willing to pay, and have a product worth someone giving you their hard-earned cash. We see games like Super Mario Bros. Selling 40 million back in the day, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe selling more than 60 million on a single platform, or Grand Theft Auto selling spectacularly across multiple console generations and setting records for earned revenue. They make it look easy. But the fact is, most games don't do huge numbers, and other methods to move units must be used. I talked before about Nintendo pricing many of their remakes at full price. Some see this as greed, and they're not completely wrong, as companies could still make decent money selling lower. It's also how much the companies believe their game is worth. Many people want companies to behave in an altruistic manner, and this isn't what they do. You want to get the most returns for your products as possible. Selling everything at bargain basement prices not only has you leaving money on the table, but it lowers the ceiling for what your product can potentially make, as people aren't going to pay higher prices for your product. You always start off with as high as you believe the market will bear. If they don't purchase at that price, then you lower the price. Start off at your ceiling, not your floor. The exception to this would be newcomers looking to be disruptive in a market to gain market share. Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man 2 sold at $70, and both sold very well. The market has declared the games to be worth the price, regardless of what this or that YouTuber said. If you don't believe a game is worth the asking price, don't buy it. If enough people do this, the company will be forced to lower the price. This is what happened to Sonic Superstars. Remember how Sega had some smoke for Nintendo and Mario? They thought they had something going with the success of Sonic Mania and Sonic 4, and thought they had what it took to hang with the big boys. They released Sonic Superstars on the same day as Mario Wonder and the same week as Spider-Man 2 at full price, and they got that work. Sega quickly realized they were in over their head. They needed to go back to selling their games for $20 to $30 in a less competitive release window if they wanted those juicy sales numbers. Both Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2 went on to sell well at full price, with Spider-Man 2 being $10 more. Crash Bandicoot 4, which has sold some 5 million copies to date, it's far off the pace of Insane Trilogy, which was able to move 20 million units. Much of that is due to it being full price versus Insane Trilogy, which debuted at $40 and is currently on sale for less than $20, as well as being included in bundles along with Crash 4 and Crash Racing games. This kills the notion of this only being a Nintendo thing, and shows how everyone wants to sell their games at full price. They just can't. Some will tell you how games from the past are still selling well today. Sure, but at what price? Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal debuted at reduced prices and can be had for $10 or less. Shadow of the Tomb Raider debuted at $40 and now includes all the DLC in that price, similar to Rise of the Tomb Raider. Let's put things into perspective. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy was released in 2017 and was able to reach 20 million units sold just this year. Spyro Reignited Trilogy came out in 2018 and was able to cross 10 million units in sales fall of 2023. Both of these were released at a reduced price on multiple platforms and have had huge sales of well over 50% off. Compare that to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, released at full price, only available for 6 months on only one platform, and it moved over 9 million units. Some will say this was helped by the pandemic, as it was released in 2020. But this didn't help Crash Bandicoot 4, which released less than a month later and has only managed 5 million in 4 years. Like I said before, context is key. The companies may still make a little money on these games, but even if they don't, sometimes it's about increasing brand value. It may be more advantageous to get higher sales numbers for less revenue than vice versa. If you have a legacy IP which sells poorly, this will decrease its perceived value to the public going forward. The mindshare will be, This game doesn't sell anymore. This franchise is dead. If you sell at thin margins but get high sales numbers, you may not make as much money, but people will believe the franchise still has value, and it can set you up for the next game. There are big league games and there are minor league games. The big leaguers can move units at full price. The minor leaguers need slash prices. Games like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, Spider-Man, Grand Theft Auto. These are the New York Yankees, Los Angeles Lakers, and Dallas Cowboys of video games. Palworld, Sonic, Tomb Raider, and Crash Bandicoot are the CBA. They can sell, but only at significantly reduced prices. Some may look at games like Metroid Dread, Super Mario RPG Remake, and Pikmin 4 and think their $3 million or so in sales isn't impressive. They're far from big league games, but all those games were released at full price. Would these games double or even triple in their sales if they debuted between $20 and $30? None of this matters much to the studios who make the games. You always want to make the most money you can, but these companies still make decent money even if they sell at much lower prices. Making and distributing games costs less than making and distributing consoles, and you can sell lower and still have decent margins. There's still the cost of producing and promoting a game, but this only affects the big-time studios making huge games. Again, $5 million in sales is an astronomical success for the majority of studios. When you want to have a discussion on how valuable a game or a franchise is to the market, however, price matters a lot. You can't put Palworld and Tears of the Kingdom on the same level. You can't compare a $30 or less game to a $70 game in terms of sales. One would have half the sales it had if it were priced higher, and one would double in sales if it were priced lower. Both these particular games sold about the same. You also have to factor in how many platforms the game is on. One game is on multiple platforms, while another is on only one. There's a reason you find many YouTube videos of those complaining about Nintendo not running sales on their games. You look at many of these games, and they're practically giving these games away for free. Every game has some type of sale eventually, whether it's through package deals or small discounts, but the big sellers are usually full price and stay that way for most of their run. Factoring in pricing helps us to not make apples to oranges comparisons between games, and to truly gauge how valuable a game or franchise is to the market.